How you doing, Jets fans? Rex Ryan called Zach Wilson's post-game press conference a disaster. A disaster because he refused to take full accountability for one of the worst games we've ever seen from a quarterback. Now, people could argue lots of interceptions. How can you call it one of the worst games? I'm talking about missing wide open receivers. It's all coming out now in all 22. There were plays where Denzel Mims, for example, was 5 yards free, wide open. Zach's looking right up the middle at him and hesitates and doesn't make the pass, like for a deep post touchdown. It was horrendously bad. He was terrified and just not an NFL quarterback yesterday in any way, shape, or form. It was absolutely brutal to watch. It was painful to watch. And Rex Ryan, the biggest fear he has is, yes, Zach Wilson lost most of his fan base yesterday, more than he ever had. Like everybody that was left supporting Zach Wilson, most of those have left. Myself included, for the most part. I mean, there's still a part of me that hopes he can somehow come back and be a quarterback, but for the most part, he lost me. I am now have kind of waved the white flag and agree that the New York Jets have to start looking for a quarterback for the future. It's a horrible problem to have. We thought we had it solved. A lot of us believed in Zach. Again, he'll have a chance to compete for the job next year, but it's time to move on. You know, after the season, we're going to have to probably figure something out and bring some in competition. I don't know if we're going to draft or sign a free agent, but we can't just ignore the fact that Zach Wilson is the worst quarterback in the NFL. And he is. He's not even in the top 32. So he's definitely the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. Can he turn it around and get better? Maybe. It's possible. Somehow that Buffalo game happened. So I don't know. But even in that game, he's never going to be a guy who's a real threat to a team. He clearly can't find receivers deep downfield. Like, he's just not a threat, which really hurts us. But anyway, the real fear, the real concern, and why his the post-game press conference was a disaster is a good chance he lost the locker room, and that's the end of a career for a quarterback. When you lose the locker room, you're done. And Rex Ryan said it himself, Robert Saleh is going to have to do his best work as a head coach now, because somehow he's going to have to save this kid from himself. He's going to have to call a team meeting, some kind of restorative. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's true, a restorative that rebuilds the trust between Zach Wilson and the rest of the team. Zach Wilson not taking accountability was probably the most childish thing I've seen from him by far since he was drafted, and maybe any player on the Jets, even more childish than Elijah Moore. To not take accountability for a game like that. And if he's not able to recognize how poorly he played, then that's even a bigger problem. Like, if he's not even aware of how bad he was, like, the first thing you come out after a game like that when you're that bad is say, I was absolutely horrible. No excuse, could never do that again. It's my fault, not any player. When you have to sit there and blame the punter punting the ball too fast, or we should have punted out of bounds, to find fault somewhere else in that game. But give me a break. Give me a break. You can't watch that game and not know whose fault it is. This is the absolute worst game you could see. I mean, you'd have to look and explore and go through hundreds of games and tape and footage to find a worse performance at the quarterback position. Anyway, the season will be lost if Saleh doesn't turn this around as far as fixing the locker room. He'll have to bring up a backup quarterback. You can't have a locker room that turns on their quarterback. It will be the implosion we've been trying to avoid. At that point, forget about evaluating Zach the rest of the season. You can't have an implosion like that. We're 6-4. There's still hope. There's still a possibility. You have to bring in Zach, Mike White, anything. If they can't, in the next 48 hours, get this locker room back on track and get them behind Zach Wilson. But the disaster is not so much what Wilson said, it's what it led to. The locker room has lost faith in Zach Wilson, and that cannot happen. If you like this video, please hit the like button if you liked it. If you didn't, don't do anything. Just go away and forget you saw it. You can also hit the bald-headed guy and subscribe, or watch another video. I put that here and here. It's right there. Have a great day, Jets fans.